Hello, folks. Denobi2 here. Thank you for joining me once again on a midnight run. It's gonna be a unique night. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be educational, and if I have anything to do with it, there might even be some drama. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's. I will be. I will have a guest on the midnight run. My good Back to the Future buddy, Mr. James, all the way from Australia, from the outback. It should be pretty. It's going to be a good show. I probably have spent the last 2 to 3 hours doing extensive research into the Mark II Delorean that was just announced. So let's do a couple check-ins here. UK Sith, hello, and I'll be checking in from Manchester, 8 a.m., where the Back to the Future musical was launched. Is it still going? Because I came this close to flying out to the United Kingdom to Manchester to catch the Back to the Future musical. This close, and then the world fell apart because I want to say the musical launched in 2019, and I came this close to just spontaneously buying a ticket. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to Manchester because I know it's not in London, and the world fell apart. We all love the DeLorean, of course. Hello from Arizona, midnight time, same time zone, right? Arizona, or daylight savings time kicked in. Hello from Arizona, glad to be watching. Hello, rearranging the display. Oh, you're going to be doing a lot more after we're done with this. After we are done with this, Bob Dylan, 3 a.m. East Coast. Sadies, I like it. I like it. Mr. Bob Dylan, the man, the myth, the legend, geeking out, probably sneaking in some midnight run love from work. I'm assuming you're working, Nate. Believe so. 3 a.m. in South Carolina. Love South Carolina. Southeast Texas, 2 a.m. Very nice. What else? What else? The Ponds. Of course, the Ponds will always go first, and I'll explain myself. Ponds in Seattle chapter reported in. Hey, anybody from the other side of the world? Here we go. Jeff Bax. Hello from Sydney, Australia, 7 p.m. The evening run for you folks out there. It's at the same time zones. Okay, I wasn't sure. I know Arizona gets a little bit wonky with the daylight savings time. Is that a giant rancor? Yes, and then some. Charlotte, thank you for checking in. South Florida, Young Squid checking in from South Florida. South Beach. I've had some adventures in South Beach. Hello from Melbourne, Australia. Very nice. What time is it in Melbourne, Australia? Isn't there like 6 time zones out there? In fact, one of the time zones exists in the Phantom Zone, where Zod and his minions exist. I'm not sure. I read that somewhere. 9 a.m. in the morning. Oh, you get to eat your not cornflakes over there in Belgium. I'm assuming smokes and a waffle for breakfast and some eggs, maybe. Maybe. KG Collector, hello, checking in. KG is coming in from the West Coast, Los Angeles. No. KG lives very close to the farthest moon of Endor. See, I forget things, but when you link certain favorite things together, it clicks in. Yep, working, of course. South Florida, 3 a.m., of course. The Middle East checking in. Ooh, from Abu Dhabi. What time is it there? Where? Melbourne, Australia. Good. Look at that. Oh, boy, you guys all came in. You guys want some Back to the Future knowledge. I have it, and I'm going to walk you. Hopefully, I can try to do this between an hour and a half because there's so much to unpack. There's just so much. So I'm going to do my my best here. James is going to be joining us in a few minutes. Give us 5 minutes. All right, 1 more minute, and I'm going to jump in. Yoda, you already checked in? Your prediction was off by 3 days. I remember you said the DeLorean wasn't announced by February 15. It probably would never happen. That is true. What Mr. Single Songwriter is referring to is that the last event for Back to the Future, the Retro Sapiens. Remember, there was 3 conjunction events in Japan There's like one in Tokyo, one in Japan. I mean, it was one in Tokyo, one in Osaka, and oh goodness, I have it somewhere. I feel like you folks should know this, that there was 3 moon events. Oh, let's get rid of that. There you go. Here you go. There it is. So Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya, which I've been to all 3 of them in person. Very cool stores. So let's go ahead and get rid of that, shall we? Boom. Oh, Mr. Local. There you go. Checking in from New York. There you go. Denobi has a lot of love coming from very nice. Very nice. All right. So let's just jump right into it, right? So the Hot Toys DeLorean, the Mark II, was announced just a little over 24 hours ago, and it went into pre-order status on Sideshow and most local comic book shops. I want to say even Alter Ego and a few in the U.S. They've already gathered the pre-orders, and I'm only on Instagram. I'm only on Reddit, and I love gathering information. And I did happen to jump in on a couple streams today, even though I was working. I didn't want to go too deep into the streams because everybody has their thoughts and ideas and so forth. How to plan for this, right? Because this was an unexpected drop. Nobody saw this coming, not even me. And I really didn't want to play the whole speculation game as far as will Hot Toys ever make the 1/6 scale DeLorean, and as far as holding your breath and so forth. So I had just assumed that if they were ever going to revisit the DeLorean, the 1/6 DeLorean, it would have been the one that was just recently teased and shown, which was the Mark III version 1 with the white wall wheels, the 1955 version. And even if they had never released the hover converted DeLorean, which they did, I would be very grateful. I would have been extremely grateful and very ecstatic. I just would have been very giddy, would have been so forth. So, oh, thank you, Evangelium. It's Back to the Future. It's the one. I mean, if there's anything I've ever talked about, and when it comes to Hot Toys and Back to the Future, is that out of all the 3 marks of the DeLorean, the hover converted Mark II from Back to the Future Part 2 is my favorite. That's the one that I connected with, that I fell in love with, that I can go on hikes, I can go to the gym, and I can just keep playing that movie over and over and over again. So it's very sentimental to me. In fact, it's so sentimental, I've done multiple videos doing kit conversions to the existing Mark I and converted into a hover DeLorean. So let's go ahead and clear up one thing straight, right? In social media and a couple streams, not going to mention any names, this is being touted as a reissue. That's wrong. All right. I would not see this as a reissue. This is not a reissue. A reissue would be not changing anything with the 1/6 scale vehicle and essentially warming up the print and press and just printing an exact duplicate of the Mark I. For most collectors, we probably would have been satisfied with that. I know I would have. I'm fine. They're redoing the Mark I. I'll take one so that I can work on my my fan project, which I've mentioned a couple times. I would love to take a Mark I 1/6 scale DeLorean and convert it into an RC, an actual radio control 1/6 scale vehicle, which a few years ago I ended up getting a quote. And there's a few places in the US that will take the DeLorean, they will gut it out, and they'll add a high-powered DC motor to it, a little RC controller, and I can stick my GoPro camera in there, and then boom, it'd be really cool. So, but because the Mark I has blown up on the secondary market, for me to destroy one of my existing Mark I's, because I have 2, it was a very expensive risk and gamble, considering that up until the last 24 hours, nobody in the community assumed or expected Hot Toys to ever revisit the 1/6 scale DeLorean. So from up until that time, we just assumed that that was it. That ship has sailed, and the secondary market just kept climbing in price and so forth. And that was it. That was completely it. So now we have the Mark II, the hover converted DeLorean, the Mark II. And I was gaming last night, and James called me. He'll be joining us in a minute. And he goes, Denobi, did you see they announced it? And I automatically assumed that it was the Mark III. I was like, oh, cool. Like, I couldn't think. Like, I just did not want to believe that Hot Toys would announce this. It's just, and as he's talking to me on the phone, I couldn't even listen to him. I was just looking at the photos, and I was already breaking down the images. I wanted stats. I wanted numbers. I wanted to run holodeck simulations. I want to know what I need to do to prep up for this delivery, for this new birth, for this new child that's going to enter my collection. The hover converted DeLorean, which I've taken two existing Mark I's, and I've converted one into a hover DeLorean. I converted one into the Mark III version 2, which is a railroad. What's cool about the conversions that I did is that no damage was ever inflicted to the vehicle, except the railroad one, which had some paint and skiff marks because I took it out into the desert, and I wanted to get those cool shots of the train tracks and the railroad wheels. And something happened where it's a heavy ass vehicle, and it slipped. I think it scratched, and something happened. There's a little bit of scuff marks on it, but that's okay because it's the Mark III version. So, but the hover converted one, the one you see in the background right there, that was brand new. That was purchased specifically to be hover converted, and very little wear and tear to have been done to it. So, and that was it. I'm like, cool. I got my two DeLoreans. I'm set. We got Mr. James joining us. Here we go. James, say hello to the kids listening.
Hey, Denobi. Hey, everyone.
Good.
Thanks for having me. Sorry I'm a bit
telling
late.
them about
Had some
how you
technical
contacted
issues.
me last night, and I was in the middle of a game, and I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah, it took you a second.
I was in complete shock, and then after you called me, I ended up with like 6 or 7 Instagram messages blowing up my phone because I had my phone at my desk, and I was in the gaming room, and I was just in shock. I just couldn't really think, and I had several people reaching out to me.
Because by the time we spoke, the photos had been up for around 20 odd minutes. So
yeah, it was only 21 minutes. And my gears were working, dude. I was just like, I want to dissect this. I want to figure this out. I wanted Hong Kong pricing so that I can run it through the algorithm and add the 30%. I wanted to know what to expect. I did not want to wait till the following day. I wanted the information now. And you were talking to me, and I was telling the audience, I'm like, I wasn't even listening because I just wanted to read. I'm like, I wanted to look at the photos and just consume and consume and consume.
Yeah, it was chaotic yesterday, and it's interesting because even if we go back 2 years ago, I don't think we would have seen this announcement from Hot Toys, and I think this now can potentially be the start of many other vehicles if it sells well, as I was saying to you last night.
It's been the whole talk.
The game's changed.
It's been, and then it's a ever developing story. As the day went on, things just happened, and stuff just rose to the surface, and it was a very unique today, especially since I was working, I was really busy, and all I wanted to do was just consume information. Now, I have not pre-ordered the DeLorean yet. I have several reasons for that. I need to do it. It's probably going to happen tomorrow, but the situation is that I want the best deal. right?
Exactly. And
I
you've got to
I
wait for
need
some retailers to get their stuff up.
yeah, and let's just jump into price. Give me 1 second. Let's pull this up here because we're gonna do some numbers here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up this slide here. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull this up here. We're gonna talk numbers, kids. We're gonna. It's been fun. The whole honeymoon suite to me was the last 24 hours. Now let's crack our knuckles and let's look at some numbers here. All right. So this is my first spot this evening was Sideshow. I needed to know what type of commitment I would get myself into. I'm buying this DeLorean, but the problem is that the storm has not hit us yet. There's a ton of incoming pre-orders and drops probably in the next 30 days. So I need to move my chess pieces accordingly. Looking at this, if I pre-order the DeLorean through Sideshow, because I live in Las Vegas, let's say in Nevada, taxes, it's almost $70 for me. And then shipping is $33. So it's $930. This is almost $1,000 purchase. Considering that the original Mark I was just under $700, it was like $687 back in 2014 or it went into pre-order in 2014, released in 2016. So it was about 14 months. So the big difference back then is that shipping was a lot. I think, believe it or not, I think shipping was probably around this price. It was probably around $25 to $30, but there was no tax, right? And it was a different price point back in 2014 when it was pre-order. So you can't fault that when you adjust it for inflation for the last, 8-9 years. Things go up, and this is a different vehicle. There's been some
The
modifications.
price overall isn't that bad, considering.
It's not. The situation is because I want the best deal, I'm most likely going to pick up two, right? I'm probably going to get two. So I need the best deal. That's how I look at it. I'm probably going to pre-order one, and then I'll wait a few months and see if somewhere on the secondary market, whatever, somebody wants to load one at a good price. So that's my plan. Are you going to day one pre-order this? I didn't even ask you.
To be honest, I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Like you, I'm waiting for various retailers to get it up. I will probably pre-order mine through pop culture. So I may put a pre-order down. I don't know if it'll be day one, but it would probably be within the next,
Okay.
3 to 6 weeks would be pre-ordered. Yeah.
Okay. So please understand, audience, that I adore and I love Back to the Future. I know James adores and loves Back to the Future, but he's if I've done my job right, I've taught him right. It's you plan, you think in the fourth dimension, you think a year out, right? You
You got to think
avoid
longer than that, maybe sometimes.
in some cases it could be between a year and a year and a half. If you're a smart veteran collector, you have to do your research. You can't look. I'm uber excited over this DeLorean. There's nothing more that I want to do than to just click day one pre-order. But the problem is that I looked at my pre-orders, and the year 2023, around when this is scheduled to drop, has some surprises in store for us. So let me pull out of here and let's go to Alter Ego Comics. So doing my research, Alter Ego Comics will not charge me sales tax, but shipping's a bit higher. So to stay in this game as a healthy veteran collector, this is the stuff you got to do. All right. You can't just click on this stuff, set it and forget it, because when that time comes around, tough choices need to be made. So I know prices are a little bit higher for you in Australia, correct? I think
Yeah,
you look at
well, I'm
Pop
just
Culture, right?
looking at the Sideshow website at the moment because it's not up on Pop Culture yet. This sucker is going for, before shipping, it's going for 1,184 Australian on Sideshow. Yeah, it's going to crack. It's going to crack. After shipping. $1,200. Well and truly. And look, for me and for people that do live in Australia, I'd say somewhere like Sugo Toys or Pop Culture probably the best to buy from. I'm probably going to go Pop just because of their reward system, and I generally get the best deal there.
Okay.
So yeah, I can probably get it. I'll probably get it at around $1,150, maybe 1,180. But yeah, it's going to be an expensive piece. So,
It's going to be a very, very expensive piece, depending on who
but it's
you.
worth it.
It is. It is. And I know certain retailers, online retailers, will knock off $50 or whatever dollars. But in those situations, in those cases, from what I understand, they do collect payment up front. So it's easy to say that you're getting a good deal through a selected retailer. Great, cool, I get it. But you have to fork up the full amount up front.
Mm,
That's not something that I feel comfortable in doing before March comes in, because I've
mm,
seen my pre-order list. I've seen all of the existing pre-orders I have from Hot Toys and other companies that are being throttled, that should have been dropped either in January, December, whatever, that have not dropped yet. So I think about stuff like that. It's all about doing a balancing act, and it's in a situation like this where I really want to just reach out to the audience. I'm like, look, I love this DeLorean, but you have to be real. This is $1,000 piece. This is a situation where we're going to get to see who the real uh, collectors are. Let's see who the real collectors are that have bitched and moaned for this for
mm.
as long as I can remember. Now it's been thrown to them, and let's see if they step up. I don't remember.
Denobi, sorry, I'll
Go ahead.
interject here. Sorry, in many ways, this is more than just $1,000 collectible, because you then need something to store this in and to display it in. And for many people, it'll be something like a Moji case. So you're not only looking at, if you want to display this piece properly, you're not only looking at the vehicle, but you're also looking at getting something like a Moji case, which is an
Yeah.
additional expense. So this is what needs to be taken into consideration, because it's the real estate, it's the cost of the vehicle, and it's the cost of the housing of the vehicle in a adequate display cabinet. So, in many ways, this is like, for me, I'm looking at this as not as in Australian dollars as a $1,200 purchase. I'm looking at it as a potential, $1,700 purchase, because I'll need a Moji case to put this in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You're right,
this
because
is, and the
of the
thing is,
flight mode.
with Moji cases, you can't just pre-order it and it'll show up the next day. So this is something that, and veteran collectors will realize this is something that you need to plan in advance, because you need to order your Moji case. And, we also need to take into consideration how much space it'll take in the hover mode. There's various things that need to be considered from a collecting perspective, other than just, will I have the money for this vehicle? And
I need
the
to ask
fact
you
that
a
it's,
question, James. Let me I'm gonna rewind the clock here. I don't remember if you were on the stream or not. So one of the things that I saw being debated online was that people were calling this a reissue, and they were posting things like suck it to the resellers on eBay for the ones that are trying to grab $1,500 for the Mark One. I didn't understand that. Do you agree or disagree that this is a different,
this is completely
this is a
different
brand
for,
new vehicle?
not only in the fact that it hovers, it's in a hover mode, but I don't recall the original one being able to be powered by USB, Denobi. Your original 1.0 couldn't be powered by USB, could it?
No, but you can use an AC plug in the back. You can stick it
Okay, all
through
right.
the back,
Yeah.
which I actually have the one on the rails behind me. plugged
Yeah.
in. But that was just something that I really wanted to just kind of clarify and just start off the stream.
No,
This is not
I
a
don't see it
reissue.
as a reissue.
This is not
No.
a reissue. So the fact that people are like, "Wow, I came this," it's fake jab comments on like, "Wow, I came this close to buying a Mark I for $1,500 on eBay." Well, you're just you're
For the
kind of making
for the diehard Back to the Future collectors, this actually, for me personally, if they don't reissue at some point in time the Mark One, this makes the Mark One even more sought after because yeah, it's different. It is different. You know, the Mark One doesn't have the Mr. Fusion. It doesn't have you know, the the hover conversion. Like there's certain small details for me that would still entice me to buy a Mark One and also have a Mark Two.
Okay. So you do agree with me in that. Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's something that I really wanted to clear up where it seemed like the collectors were using it and like, wow, I don't need the Mark. It is a completely different vehicle. Um, I can tell you just looking at this as far so for example, I'm almost positive that if I purchase this, I will not be able to use it for my RC conversion because there's things underneath it. There's things that have been done underneath the molding of the vehicle for the LED lights that is completely different. It is a different mold and plate than what it was with the Mark One. I would even guess that it's probably a little bit thinner. There's just so many things that I'm gonna do my best to kind of go through the stream and kind of point out like this is a completely different vehicle. Superhero displays. Thank you so much. I'm a real collector. Folks listening in, I'm gonna ramble. James knows that if I go on a tangent, let me know. I'm gonna try to focus because there's just so much. There's just so much that I really want to share. So let's. God, where do we begin? You want to go back to 2016? You want to?
Yeah, let's go back. Let's go back then.
Let's go back to 2016. We're gonna let's remove this. We're gonna go back to 2016, right? 2016 it was the year. This particular year, the Mark One had just been released early first quarter of 2016, and San Diego Comic-Con. They had just teased the hover converted Delorean for the second time, I want to say. This version, there's some minor tweaks and altercations. So before I take us back to 2016, all right, I'm gonna let the audience know that this right here, this DeLorean that you're seeing here, this is the exact same DeLorean from 2016. From what I'm speculating here.
Can I say that's
Go
the
ahead,
same year that
Jim.
they had the Batmobile on display, wasn't it, Denobi?
The Batmobile was
BPS
on
Batmobile.
display that year too. Yes. Yeah.
They had a few vehicles on display then.
Yeah. So when I was studying this last night, there were certain key things, and I tend to forget things, but there were certain key things that I remember about the prototype in 2016 that then led me to believe, like, oh, they dug this out of storage. They dusted it off. They added a label, and they essentially said, "Hold my beer. We're doing this." This, what you see here, is the exact prototype from 2016. There's a lot of minute little details from the screws to the axle joints that retract the wheels to the light illuminating from the top to the surface. This is the 2016 prototype. They dusted it off and they chucked it off. That base you see underneath there, you see that base? Do you see the base that has the hover converted? Where do you think they dug that up from, James?
SDCC.
What's that?
SDCC. I remember your video.
SDCC.
They had that SDCC convention, the San Diego convention.
No. Do you see the base with the acrylic arms that's holding
Yeah.
the DeLorean? Where do you think that came from?
Ooh.
That's
Yeah.
fine if
Is
you don't know the
it?
answer. If
Oh, yeah. It's
somebody,
from the
if
Batwing. It's
somebody
from the
here, I'm
Batwing.
going to go to the comments because I've been
Was
ignoring
it
the
from the
comments.
Batwing,
But
Denobi?
what's that?
Was it from the Batwing?
You got the points. You're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. And
It took me a second because I never owned
you
that
were good.
piece,
I
but
was gonna.
I almost bought it
Yeah.
back in the
Look
day.
right here. This is my bat. I had the bat. Well, not the Batwing, the bat, the Christopher
Oh, the
Nolan.
bat. Yeah.
There it is. Does that look familiar to you? There it is right there,
Very
folks.
familiar.
So it's not the Batwing single songwriter. He meant the bat. The bat.
Yeah, the bat. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. He meant the bat. I had the bat. I hated the bat. I did not like the bat. But I did recognize the display arms on there. Again, all the clues were pointing out like, wow, they scrambled to release this. The other clue was the MSS title. It's one of the newer MSS 615, I think it's what it is. So so there was a lot of clues, which led me to believe like this is just the DeLorean. So I'm telling you, I did a lot of research. You can see it's exact same base. There's been some modifications. Again, superhero displays, not a problem. I will suck up to super chats, but Mr. Superhero Displays, if you have an educated question on a super chat, I would be more than happy to answer it for you. Okay, we're going to 2016. Here we go. We're time traveling now. Boom. It was a different time back then, right? Suicide Squad was the cat's meow. I didn't have any facial hair back then. Very, very different. And I went through this video. I've seen this video probably I've seen this about 3 to 4 times. And you can see how the lights from the wheels illuminate. So you can see now the bat base they didn't use, but they clearly dug something out of storage to modify the bat display. So I looked at the joints, and you can see the screw joints. I'm telling you, I went through this video because, I mean, it's everything you can kind of pinpoint. And again, I tend to forget things, but when it comes to things like this, I mean, I was there, folks. I was there. I lived it. I saw this thing in person.
I was there, Gandalf. I was there.
I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there. All right. So you can see the joint. Doesn't that look kind of familiar right there? You go back to the photo here. We're doing a little bit of detective work here. All right.
Denobi, also, that photo of Doc and Marty that you've got behind the photo there, the photo of them with the DeLorean. I remember just thinking now. I remember Hot Toys released a teaser of them in that exact same pose. So I wouldn't even be surprised if this photo of Doc and Marty feet up on the DeLorean is pulled from past like previous shot like images that they had in storage in the archive.
I mean, it could be. I mean, I'm assuming that and just for the audience, listen, I don't expect them to re-release the Doc Brown from the future or Marty. I honestly really don't. The photos you see with
I think they will.
Huh?
I think they will.
I don't expect it. I would not want to promote that expectation on this stream. It would be a welcome surprise. But again, going through these production photos, and you can kind of see this is the prototype from 2016. So why is that important? There's a reason why I'm digging this up, because I see the excuses. I see the excuses about the wheels are not flushed accordingly, right? This right here, this you know exactly what I'm talking about. This right here. Oh, the wheels should be tucked in further, hug into the base, right? And so forth. I'm ignoring all of that, right? That's Denobi. That's how a year one collector thinks, right? I was there. I recognized the prototype that was dug out of storage and quickly assembled and rushed through. So
essentially, you're saying, Denobi, that you reckon the final production piece we get will have some substantial improvements.
And then some. Yes, that's exactly what I'm getting. In fact, every photo that has been released, it's peppered right on the side. Look, this is the prototype. All right. Hold my beer. We're going to get to work on this. The whole wheel situation was known at the time. This is not something that was just discovered. This was known at the time. I remember talking to sideshow executives on the floor. Howard Chan was doing his trolling in 2016. This was look, this was a prototype. That's what it was. And the fact that they dug this thing up, this thing was in store. I mean, look, even right to the back illuminated lights, the barcode plate, even the Mr. Fusion I inspected, where I went to the photos like, oh my God, this was a scrambled job, right? This was something that they were not expecting. And if you can kind of see the seam, everything. So when someone tells me, I was like, well, Denobi, look, there's more to this story than meets the eye. This is the 2016 prototype that out of nowhere, they brushed it. They modified a display base from Christopher Nolan's The Bat, and they went into pre-order. I know, because I was there. No, I'm not going to put the meme, but I came this close. But look at it right there. Again, I was there, and you can see the screws on there. Everything is minute. This is not a new prototype. This was not something that they were working on. You kind of know what I'm going to, which we're going to focus on later on. But you know exactly where I'm taking this, right, James?
You're a cheeky bastard.
But it's to educate the folks. Like, this is the prototype. So please don't send me a message at the wheels. Ignore it. All right. Folks, you have been given a second chance into the pearly gates of heaven, or the celestial temple, where the aliens in the wormhole live. That's where I like to think of it. All I've heard is excuses and so forth. Oh, I wish they would do the Delorean. They've given us the opportunity. We're going to talk about probably the reasons why they did it. It's the prototype. Now, let's time travel to the future just 1 year. We're going to pretend we're in the middle of spring of 2023. This DeLorean retails for $825. And do you know the exact range date on when it's supposed to drop?
Like May to July. Did it say? I'm going. Let me just go have a look. Yeah, May to July 2023.
Mr. Superhero Displays, I was enjoying your compliments, but I wanted to take it up to the next level. Throw me a good question. I can spend more time on you. Wink, wink. That's what I was getting at. Going back to James, it's between May. It is between May and July 2023. Now, we're going to go back, and then I'm going to explain to you why I cannot day one pre-order this just yet. I probably will in the next couple of days. And it's because in the future, if we go to within that specific time zone, there's going to be some specific drops that are going to be happening around that time, right? Looking at the my star charts here. Remember, just last week, right? Everybody was beating off to this one right here, right? This is the quarter scale Boba Fett. Remember that, James? Were you part of that gang? Weren't you yelling at me? Oh, Genova, everybody loves Boba Fett. You can't give it a chance, can't? Remember that? Remember you were making, right?
I don't think that was me.
Or is that British? When Australia is more...
No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. It's a nice piece. It is a very nice piece.
So that's all I heard through the Star Wars community. Day one pre-order of the quarter scale. But look what is also dropping around that same time frame too, right? See, that's when I try to tell the audience This is what I look at, right? I love Dr. Octavius. I'll beat off to him. This is a phenomenal figure. But yet in the Star Wars community, just a few weeks ago, everybody was going crazy for Axe Wolves and Koska Reeves. What do all these characters have in common is that they're all dropping within a specific time frame near the DeLorean.
Can you imagine if you got the shipping, Denobi, the same week you had quarter scale Boba Fett and the DeLorean shipping?
This is what I see. Well, everybody else thinks of the now. I think of the later. Remember the Mark IV? Oh, Fennec Shan. Weren't you kids out there in love with Fennec? Oh, wait a minute. Is that the quarter scale Christopher Nolan Batman? Oh, dear Jove. Oh,
it's the month of quarter scales.
What you fancying that piece there? What, yeah, the quarter scale Christopher Nolan. Look at that, right? Look at that. That drops. That's what I look at right there. Look at that. All within, and then boom, May 2023 to July. Folks, that's what I see, right? Be careful. There's a lot of influencers out there, right? And if you're not careful, you can run into getting tapped out. That was the point of this little class session here, is that I look at the 825 on this. It's expected to drop between May 2023 and July 2023, but I also need to know what else is being dropped around that time frame. And when you look at about 8 characters within a 90-day period, and these characters aren't cheap.
3 of them are quarter scales.
That quarter scale, 600 plus tax and shipping. Everybody in the Star Wars community is after Axe Wolves and Koska Reeves, right? The Green Goblin. Hell, Green Goblin and Doc Ock alone is close to $1,000, right? Well, that's what, $375, so it's about $700-800 depending on where you buy from, shipping and tax. Not to mention the quarter scale Iron Man Mark IV, and then the quarter scale Boba Fett. Look, if it's between Fennec Shan and the DeLorean, Fennec Shan's going to have to get blasted out in the desert, and we're going to make sure that her circuits aren't repaired this time, right?
Denobi, if it was for you, if you had to choose between Doc Ock and the DeLorean, which one would you pick?
I'm sorry, I was reading the comments. What was that again, James?
If you had to pick between Doc Ock and the DeLorean, what would you pick?
Which version of the DeLorean?
The new one. If you could only buy one.
Oh, I would get the DeLorean Mark II. Easy. Yeah. I'll think of I'll think of something. Yeah, I'll get another Doc Brown. They haven't cracked the code for capturing the likeness of Christopher Lloyd. I don't think they've done a really good job on that. There's 8 figures of Hot Toys that are expected, and the problem is that Hot Toys has not been very reliable with their drop dates. So I put this little shtick here together because I get it. We're all excited. And I'm not saying not to look. If you want the DeLorean, this is going to be your best and only opportunity. Are you getting any of these, by the way? Is there anything here on the screen that jumps out at
you? Denobi, as I've said, and I've been doing all my recent purchases. I will cross the bridge once they're released in Hong Kong, and then I'll make the call. I'll see where I'm at financially, collecting wise, and also away from collecting, because life can throw curveballs at you. So these are big purchases. I generally only collect Star Wars and some Dark Knight stuff, but even for me, the suit up gantry is appealing. So I'm definitely getting the DeLorean, but all these other stuff, I'll cross the bridge when it gets released. Yeah, I can't give a definite answer.
Yeah. So I'll take that from you, because that's exactly how I'm going to play it. Folks tuning in, what we're talking about, because I see the viewership climb. The DeLorean is expected to drop around late spring of next year, and what I look at are what else is being dropped, and there's 8 figures from Star Wars to Marvel that are being dropped around that same time frame. James, you took the words exactly. You have to plan it ahead. I have not day one pre-ordered any of this yet. I need the DeLorean, though. It's a little bit different. I do want to send a signal that I do want that, so I will let them know that I will pre-order in this. But because there's several characters on this screen here, this is one of the reasons I cannot day one pre-order anymore. Can you imagine if just to paint yourself into a corner? I mean, just that quarter scale Boba Fett that everybody was in love with, that's what, $700, the deluxe, once you add shipping and tax. The Batman Christopher Nolan, which looks phenomenal, it's most likely, so it's $595, so $600, so it's a $700 purchase for most US collectors, right? So someone had the question, right here. What's your point? Right here. What's your point, though? Just get the DeLorean. The point is to make yourself aware so that you don't run the risk of tapping out, canceling your pre-orders. That's really what it is. All right. That's exactly what it just. We're all excited. My concerns are that a lot of this, just the stuff that's been in pre-order from 2020, hasn't been released yet. That's honestly the point. Going back to 2016 now. I had a lot of high hopes for this. For this, I honestly thought this was going to be released at that time, that year. It did not bother me that that the Mark One had, by this point, this is summer 2016, so the Mark One had already been released yet, and there was complaints already. In fact, some of the comments like, "Denobi, why did you buy the Mark One when you can get this?" The comments are there. It's all archived, right? I think I've shared this with you too, James, right? Like people are like, why did you buy that when you can get this? And
because everyone thought it was a done deal.
Everybody thought it was a done deal. Exactly. And if there's one thing that I've learned with Hot Toys throughout the years, is that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Never assume they're ever going to release anything unless it's officially gone into pre-order. That's pretty much what it is. So do you think they'll release the Mark III DeLorean?
Look, Denobi, I was speaking to you about this last night briefly. This DeLorean release, I think a lot hinges on it. Hot Toys is, this is a different Hot Toys to 2019 and, or pre-2020. It's a different Hot Toys. But they're taking a big risk going, doing, releasing a big vehicle like this. In the past, big pieces like this did not sell well. And Hot Toys probably made, either just broke even or took a loss in it. So I think Hot Toys is, testing the waters a bit here and repaying the faith a little bit. But I think if this sells well and the stats are good and they make good money off it, then we can see many more pieces, large scale vehicles get released. I think if this sells well, we'll definitely get the Mark III. And as I said to you, this, if it sells well, we could get other large vehicles as well. Stuff from Star Wars may actually start coming into play. I know there's been the Jazz Inc. Falcon cockpit that was that came out last year or the year before. But if Hot Toys will be watching what has sold from other companies, and I think if it sells well, Blitzway will also release their Ecto One. I think it's been a game of chicken between the two of them, who's going to release their vehicle first. And I definitely think we're going to get the Ecto One now. And if all this stuff sells well, they're going to keep doing vehicles because, the stats don't lie. If people are buying this stuff, then they're going to keep doing more of it.
I'm going to agree with you on that. That's really one of the reasons I'm going to make an effort to probably buy tomorrow day one, because
the collecting community needs to back this big time.
Yeah,
because that as I said in earlier in the stream, 2016 we also saw the prototype for the BVS Batmobile. We saw a physical video that Hot Toys put out teasing the Ben Affleck Batmobile, and we all thought it was a done deal, and then it never came out because the movie wasn't as successful as Warner Brothers had hoped. But they've still got that sitting in, they've still got that stored sitting away in a warehouse somewhere, and they could just put up for pre-order.
They could. Yeah. It almost, you almost ponder the idea that if they dug this thing out of storage because of unknown reasons, we can speculate on that, but there's nothing that says that they can't decide to move forward with it.
And Ben Affleck is appearing in the Flash movie. We don't know if we're going to see his Batmobile or not, but there is a chance, and that could be a good enough excuse for Hot Toys to go stuff it. We're going to release the Ben Affleck Batmobile.
Something else I want to point out too, not to bash but the light coming off from these wheels is photoshopped. I have a keen eye. It
looks pretty photoshopped.
Yeah, they did it to clearly show that it will be illuminated, but that was something that I don't know if the video shows. They weren't able to capture. I don't think I caught that in the video. Let me see. I don't remember seeing it. You can kind of see like the screw marks on the wheels and things like that. I mean, again, this is the one that was pulled out. This was something that, look, we're going to do it. Those joints are not movie accurate. That's something else I wanted to kind of point out too, that people were kind of splitting hairs on. The DeLorean in the film Back to the Future Part 2, there was like 3 to 4 different versions. They were done by different effects houses. Anytime the DeLorean was flying, it was done by ILM, and then they built full-scale props that were suspended by strings. They had one that was on a forklift. They all look different. Even the one in the alleyway that was jury-rigged that gets lowered down, even the wheels retract in a very odd in different way. There's shots where the wheels are lower. There's shots where the wheels are hugged into the body. This is something that at the time they just never really thought that this current generation would scrutinize under 4K resolution, and you can kind of see the imperfections. It just was not. The idea was to deliver the story, and oh, look at that. I did capture the close-up. So, and do you see that? That's something I don't know if you can see on the photo. Each wheel had its own power source. This is part of the prototype. Now, I point that out because in the description, the new Mark II DeLorean will be USB powered. There's no indication that it would require button cell batteries. So again, I'm showing this, I'm pointing this out to let the audience know that all you're looking at is a rough prototype, and the final version will be dramatically different. It could be
Shinobi, at the bottom of the side, or on the sideshow site, it says light up function can be operated by USB power battery not included for collectible, AA batteries required, and then USB connecting cable is not included for collectibles, micro USB cable is required. So there still will be battery components.
Well, in the original Mark I, it does take 4 AA batteries that actually fit underneath the hood, or I don't have to put the batteries in, I can plug it in through the back. I'm assuming that they did some electrical modifications, that instead of the old school plug, it's now a USB plug. I'm assuming that's all they did. But the point is that with the AA batteries, there's not going to be an independent power source to that wheel. So again, and I'm just kind of stressing this out to the folks that are watching, like, don't take the prototype as the final version. It is going to be radically different. I mean,
I know we're splitting hairs, but I'm just looking. I've got the original DeLorean information up from Sideshow as well, and that actually took AAA batteries, and I think the new one takes AA batteries. So they did even change that, what sort of batteries it'll take.
Okay, I know the batteries fit right underneath the hood. Yeah. I never use them. I don't want them to leak inside underneath the hood. But yeah, well, just like I said, look at the wires and the light and source and so forth. Again, I'm assuming this has to be changed, and the fact that the light protrudes from the top, that's not movie accurate. In any of the 3 to 4 different versions of the DeLorean, you do not see the light illuminate from the top. The light always shoots down from the bottom.
Mm.
So something else was pointed about the dashboard. The prototype dashboard did illuminate, as did the Mark I's dashboard. A lot of electronics were removed in the final version, right? I'm assuming that he's going to go back and he's going to add that. I can tell you, LED lights 10 years ago to LED lights now are extremely cheap. I remember buying IKEA lights that were LED, and I was paying about $40. I remember I bought 2 strips of LED lights for one D-top. I spent over $80. You can go on Amazon right now and you can buy a wheel of LED string lights, sticker lights for like $15.
The tech's improved.
I think that's one of the reasons why, like, we can get all these lights now, all these LED lights and so forth, and not have the price increase, because LED lights back in the day for the first Mark I was expensive and lighting was removed. I was one of the ones, like, my God, the prototypes had the whole dashboard and the speedometer light up. The final version does not. This one that they're showing, the 2016, I'm going to take their word for it. I'm going to trust them that it'll be fully illuminated, because they are showing that underneath the vehicle, it is illuminated. So again, a completely different vehicle. This is not a reissue. This should be a spectacular piece when it drops. I can't. And you see the plug underneath there? That's where the plug is on mine, right there. You see there, right in the center? Yeah. I'm assuming either the plug will change to or something. They'll probably push it to the back, because that does not look pretty if you're showing.
Should we get to speculation territory, Genovi, about why you think this was put out so quickly?
So it's been brought to my attention that Jazz Inc., right, a third-party custom builder based out of the Netherlands, was trying to bid for the license to build the DeLorean. Several people reached out to me. I saw the articles on Reddit and social media and so forth. Hell, even the comments earlier on the stream had talked about it. All I can say generally is that the collector community dodged a bullet. They dodged a bullet, because if Jazz Inc. had gotten his hands on the DeLorean, I can only imagine the nightmare that would have. I just the whole horror. I just can't even. Like, my goosebumps. I get goosebumps just thinking about him getting access to blueprints to make a DeLorean. And we have Hot Toys here. We have Hot Toys that has a history of going above and beyond, right? They omitted certain things from the prototype that the Mark I was held against to, right? They used it against them. This is by far the best 1/6 scale vehicle, the Mark I, that they've ever created. I had the Tumbler. It was trash, right? Did not like it. It could not wheel. The only other company in the collector community that can come close and probably even exceed, you know who it is?
The Blitzway Ecto 1.
It's Blitzway Ecto 1. Blitzway Ecto 1 said, oh, we can do the Ecto 1 and then some. Not only did they do the Ecto 1 and then some, but they added additional features that weren't even in the specs. So hearing things like that he wanted to do, that he was trying to get it, and he was trying, it's no coincidence. All I can say is, phew, the collector community dodged a bullet. What did you think about that when you heard the news? Because it was all over the internet and stuff like that.
Yeah, look, Denobi, I'd just say I'm glad. And no disrespect to Jazz Inc., but I am happy that Hot Toys are the ones making the DeLorean. You irrespective of the fact that Hot Toys omitted some of the lighting features in the 1.0, it was still a very polished and finished product when it was delivered to the collectors. And Hot Toys has got a great track record. And yeah, I just know that the product I'm going to get from them is guaranteed to be top notch, very polished, and look amazing in my collection.
Anybody that feels that he would have done a better job than Hot Toys is smoking some really bad stuff. I'm in Vegas. I'll get you to the good stuff. I'm no confidence that he could have pulled off a Christmas miracle and delivered a DeLorean that would have met the satisfaction of the collector community. I know, and I can speak by experience because I purchased the Justice Mobile. Every time I move the Justice Mobile in this room, something else falls off of it. It's something else. I'm not kidding. In fact, I moved it right where you see the Enterprise, and it's sitting on cinder blocks because it's so heavy that the wheels are protruding. And anybody that feels that he would have, I mean, I still have pieces. Every time I move it, something else. So I'm telling you, folks, you dodged a bullet. If you want to give him thanks for sparking the fire underneath Hot Toys' butt, if that's the claim, then you know what? Great. That's perfectly fine. But the comment right there, it would be double the price. It would be absolutely double the price.
100%.
100%. And it would probably be a 2-year delay because something else around the world or another illness or something. And
Hot Toys are a well-oiled machine, maybe. So I know a lot of people bash on them for sometimes not meeting their targets. But before the world experienced the spicy cough and the end of the world happened, 99% of the time, Hot Toys would basically hit their targets. There was only 1 or 2 pieces that were like severely delayed. So, and in the last 6 months or whatever, Hot Toys has really got back on track in terms of hitting their deadlines. So like we can rely on Hot Toys to deliver this in a timely fashion.
I'm telling you, it is a blessing in disguise. If you really did stoke the fires for Hot Toys, then kudos. But the fact that I saw comments where people thought that this company could generate a DeLorean near better quality is just, it's delusions of grandeur is what I would say to that. It simply is. You have no idea. I mean, when Hot Toys puts their mind to something, and if you've never owned a DeLorean, you've never owned a DeLorean, right? Right, James? You've never had it, right?
Unfortunately, no. I could have. I wasn't allowed to get it at that point. I was not allowed to take up that much space in the house.
Yeah, this is out of all the 1/6L vehicles, this is the one that can roll on the floor like a Hot Wheels. If you wanted to sit and play with it, you could. What was that?
It was one that got away from me, to be honest.
Yeah, it got away from a lot of people. And this was also a year too where we were coming into Civil War. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was gaining steam, and tough choices needed to be made. I've always loved Back to the Future from the very beginning, and the fact that I got to see this version with the Mr. Fusion and everything. I mean, I genuinely thought that they were gonna really look at that. Look what can you see those 2 characters behind the DeLorean, James? What is that back there in 2016? Do you see that?
That is I don't. That's Ripley.
Ripley and the alien. Yeah, I was right. So it's a different.
So I had to look into my phone. It was
yeah. So yeah, that's.
Well, people are still waiting for more stuff from Alien. They're waiting for, what's it called? What was the thing that she was in? The power loader.
Yeah, the power loader.
People still waiting for that.
Yeah, when I was going through my photo archives, I dug this piece of pamphlet. This was 2016. Look at that, folks who are curious. Yeah, this is what was trending in 2016. Look at that. There's what 1, 2, 3. This is like 7 Hot Toys. I think we're getting
We
like
got
7 Hot Toys.
3 Jared Leto Jokers maybe from one movie.
Yeah. We're aren't we getting like 7 drops like within like a 90-day period? This is like for the whole year or something like that. I think it was a part of Toy Fair. It was simpler times back then, wasn't it? Yeah, I was going through some of the stuff here and some of the photos, and you can kind of see, but yeah, I figured the audience would get a kick out the photos I took, and not very good quality, but yeah, I mean, this is the beauty. This is going to be a beautiful piece for any collector's collection, and it just seeing it going to pre-order after such a long time, it's just mind-blowing. It's incredible. I
It's
think
so great they've back to back that they've really reinvested into the Back to the Future line after all this time.
Yeah. Barba Khan wondering. I don't know. I want to say I would like to assume so. James wants to believe so too. I just don't.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
My thoughts, Denobi, are that if they don't announce it now, they could announce it upon the release of the DeLorean. You know, they could do that. A lot of time they may not want to put too much out at once for the Back to the Future line. You know, it is a niche.
It is very
line. It's not like Marvel or DC or Star Wars. So they may just wait until this bad boy gets released, and then a week or two later drop the Marty reissue 2.0. They could even do it as a Toy Fair exclusive or something like that. So I think there's a good chance it does get re-released. If they're seeing enough hype in the line to put this out, then I think there's a good chance that we get the reissue of Doc and Marty from Back to the Future 2.
Look at this comment here. So I see stuff like this, right? This comment here. And I would just ask why and how would you assume that? My question is have you ever purchased a 1/6 scale vehicle from Jazz Inc. to make that assumption? And then B, have you or ever owned a Hot Toys DeLorean? That's probably where, because when I see questions like this, and like this one right here, I just don't understand it. I don't understand this would make the best DeLorean, in my opinion. And how would you come to that conclusion? What assumptions? How would you? That would be my thing. Just he's only, if as record dictates, he's only ever released to the public one 1/6 scale vehicle, right, James? From what I understand.
Yeah, he did do the Falcon cockpit as well. I'd count
But
that.
I'm sorry, I should be more specific. A vehicle that rolls on 4 wheels.
Okay, yeah, just
Okay.
one so far.
Okay.
He is doing the 66 Batmobile.
Because a Falcon cockpit is completely a different beast. It's, if anything, is more of a diorama than an actual vehicle that sits a character that you would want to roll on 4 wheels. I can tell you now, folks, like I said, the DeLorean rolls perfectly on the floor. Now, not every 1/6 scale vehicle that Hot Toys has ever made rolls on the floor conveniently. I mean, the tumbler is a nightmare. I had it, and it was a joke. I did not like that at all. Look at this. I found this photo. That was the first conversion where the wheels kind of drooped a little bit lower, and I designed it so that it would do very minimal damage to the DeLorean, so that if something ever broke or anything, I can put it back to Mark 1 in case it didn't look right. In fact, I hired a local 3D print shop, and I gave him the spec. I gave him a design. I'm like, hey, can you 3D print this arm? I go, I think I can have these wheels. So there was a local 3D artist. I think I paid him like $50, and he 3D printed. And it wasn't until a few years later I partnered up with Thomas, and he's like, he cracked his knuckles. I'm like, I'll do this. And I think most folks that are listening or watching us have probably purchased a kit a hover conversion kit from Thomas because I promoted him on the videos that I did when I did the conversion. He no longer does that. Don't reach out to Thomas. He is aware about the hover converted DeLorean. I've had to talk some sense into him because he brought up the same concerns that most people is, but Denobi, the wheels are too low. Why would you buy that? Thomas, calm down. Just, yeah, he's not used to that. He's not used to prototypes. He assumes that. So he may even watch this video, but I know he's in bed right now. So but it's just one of those situations where you just have to let people know if you're brand new to the community, you have to look, just calm down. This is a prototype. It's going to get better. If anything, they've been providing updates on some of their pre-orders. They'll provide an update like on a head sculpt on certain figures, or they really
on Scarlet Witch.
What's that? On Scarlet Witch and a few others. So this is something that will be a nice welcome surprise when it drops, and I hope that most collectors in the community can grab it and not miss this opportunity, because look, me and James want to believe that there's going to be a Mark III, right? I want to believe it, but things move so
only if
fast.
this sells well.
Yeah, I mean, it could be another 5 years. Who knows, right? I don't.
Could be another 8, maybe.
It could be another 8, right? So are you going to either take a leap of faith on this one, or are you going to try to hold out? I can tell you right now, though, that the final version of this will probably not roll on the floor properly, if I had to guess. I'm almost positive with those type of wheel mechanics, it would probably sit on all 4 wheels fine, but it's probably not going to roll. If you want a DeLorean that rolls downhill smooth like a giant Hot Wheels, it's going to be the Mark I. If anybody's curious, the Ecto 1 cannot roll. It's way too heavy. The Ecto 1, you can push it, you can break a sweat, it will not roll. At like a 90 or like a degree angle, that sucker will not roll. I have to, on occasion, every 3 to 4 months, I rotate the wheels so that the wheels don't develop a flat spot. The vehicle is that heavy. I have no idea what the Blitzway design team, what they were smoking when they designed it. I mean, it's like they were told to, they were told to design and develop the best Ecto 1, and no one came into their office and stopped them from adding in more stuff. It's bonkers. Like, they just kept adding, like, can we do this? Can we do that? And
do you reckon we'll get the new the Afterlife Ecto 1 now today? Because I think we'll get it, but what do you think?
I want to believe.
You think this will push them over the edge?
I want to believe. I genuinely want to believe. I'm just so skeptical. I just am. I'm so.
No, you've got to be. You've got to be skeptical.
I stopped believing.
It only took us 8 years to get the DeLorean 2.0.
Yeah. Here's a good question from my bud, Mr. P-Dog. That's a good question. Denobi, with the beauty of the Ecto 1 Blitzway made, do you think they would have made a better DeLorean? Yes. If anybody can top Hot Toys when it comes to 1/6 scale vehicle, it's going to be Blitzway. Yeah. What do you think, James?
Yeah, look, I think Blitzway could have made a better DeLorean, but I think with what's gone on in history, I don't think Hot Toys will leave anything to chance this time.
Yeah.
Technology's improved, as you said, and they saw how over-engineered the Ecto 1 was. I don't think Hot Toys will leave anything to chance this time, and they'll give it. They'll make sure it's the best DeLorean that can be physically made.
Mm-hmm. Marty McFly is joining us. Mark III DeLoreans that must release to go with the Back to Future figures, please. That's a good point. I forgot about the old Clint Eastwood. Yes. So, oh God, yeah. And somebody here is in the You've seen Bob Dylan's algorithm chart, right? Have you seen this? He's pointed out that the MMS line has missing sequences. So maybe like Jurassic Park, we can use frog DNA to fill in those missing sequences and kind of fit it in. Jazz Inc. is stuck with the European supply chains and labor costs. Of course, they're more expensive than China. Apples and oranges. Good point. I'll stick to I'll stick to Hot Toys.
I'll also say, Genobi, and this is not bashing on Jazz Inc., but like they're not they're great at engineering, but they're not professional painters. And Hot Toys has a team of that develop these amazing collectibles, and that includes some absolutely amazing professional painters. So they're always painted super realistically. I remember in your video with the that you did on the what's it called, the Millennium Falcon cockpit, there was like paint leak and paint spilling over into different sections. Like it wasn't super crisp, all the lines, and you don't want that. You want something that's going to look professional.
Not only professional, but it's not I don't use the word cheap. It's not it's expensive compared to the current collector market. It's so Hot Toys is asking $825. Well, Sideshow's asking $825 for it, and because the company is a smaller establishment, right? Well, we have to charge more because it's going to be smaller batches. Well, okay, it's a smaller batch, but will the quality be there, right? Again, I can speak from experience. I had the Justice Mobile. It arrived broken, and as the time goes by, it's so it can't support its own weight. I have glass cups. I call them cinder blocks, and I have them underneath the vehicle because the vehicle, as time goes on, I can see the wheels starting to buckle. It's literally it is disintegrated in front of me. Every time I move the damn thing, something else freaking falls off. I'm not making this stuff up, So when I see the delusions of grandeur, where he could make better, he could have made, this company could have made a better DeLorean. All right, well, let's look at his track record, right? So I'll play devil's advocate. The Justice Mobile went through 3 to 4 modifications until it was gotten right. Well, what about the first generations that supported the product, right? So with
everyone should get the same quality product.
Yeah. So the first batch of the DeLoreans will probably be a train wreck, and probably by the 3rd or 4th versions, you'll finally get the hover conversion right. I mean, I wouldn't want to be inside of the first batch of those DeLoreans. I'll end up in medieval. Can you imagine if I activated that flux capacitor? And I'd be shot back to 1885 with no rescue. I'd probably blow up in front of me. That thing was. I wouldn't do that. Looks like Doc Brown to me. Conversion rate better than that. Yes, Thomas. Make conversion kits look better than the Hot Toys wheels. Look, wrong position. They should put on the right wheel first. Jason's 1979. If you join the stream, ignore the prototypes. All right. I have done extensive detective. I've Sherlocked this damn thing. This is the 2016 prototype. What you see here is the prototype. They dug this out of storage. They jimmied some of those acrylic arms from Christopher Nolan's The Bat, quickly put it up. They took some really cool photos. They added some Photoshop. Yes, I can go. What's that? Those lights are Photoshop. What's going on here? Something, but those are Photoshop lights. So this is the 2016 tweaked up prototype right there on the photo. Prototype shown. Final product may be slightly different. I don't even think it'll be slightly different. I think it's going to be a lot different. I think it's going to be a complete overhaul. They're probably working on it right now. The only
they've got a year, so they got a bit over a year. So
it'll be over a year. The only thing they probably have to crack is the mechanism to getting the wheels right. Now, I have a lot of toy cars of the DeLorean, and this is a 2010. This is from Diamond Select, right? This is a Diamond. I don't think you've ever seen this, sir. Lights and sounds. Hold on, I need to turn it on with the batteries. All right. For $60 at the time for lights and sounds, this is a decent. It has. You can even see like the dashboard lights up and everything. So this has a mechanism underneath here where the wheels can retract and go into hover mode. Even this version, if I point the camera just right, if you can kind of see it right there, maybe you see the wheels. Even this version, so it's the wheels drop underneath it because it's a simple rudimentary gear pulley system that just pulls the wheels out. Now, a lot of the toys that I have with the DeLorean used this same design, and the only company that cracked the code to getting the wheels right blew me out of the water, and it was Playmobil. Playmobil, this is their how do you turn this thing on? This is a lights and sound. All right, there's no sound. I'm sorry, there's no sound, just lights, right? But if you look at the wheels right here, they did something that was clever, and I'm gonna do the angle here. It folds down, so I'm gonna show it right.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so you can kind of see this is the only one that actually figured out how to do it. You see that? So this is the only toy that does not use the old school mechanical arm thingamajig that every other toy company has used. Even Hot Toys, even for that 2016 prototype, the same mechanical arm that's in this 2010 toy, it's exact same thing to get because the wheels will retract and pull in and pull out. But the Playmobil figured it out, and they did a really, really good job. And this is the only toy I've ever seen that actually got the wheels just right.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah. And you can kind of see the way the camera lines up and so forth, but it's the only one.
I just wanted to show that. Going to take notes.
Yeah, well, it's so I'm assuming that the R&D that's probably going to have to be done on this one is like, okay, you need to figure out something to get that wheel just right. It could be solved. If a $40 Playmobil, the competitor to Lego, can crack the code, I know Hot Toys can crack the code.
Exactly.
So, Mark III, you see here, reissues, paint the eyes, new tumbler comes, spitting fat. I'm trying to help you folks, right? You took the time to spend time with here, and I'm sharing, and I'm the how it works, what's going through my head. I don't want anybody to miss this opportunity. I don't think James wants anybody. Look, if you really love Back to the Future, I know James does, and this is something that if it means canceling Ahsoka Tano or the 2-pack of Boba Fett's to get the DeLorean, I know that this individual that's on the screen will do it because he's not going to miss the opportunity.
I will. No.
Yeah, he will not miss the opportunity. And just going back to the oh, not this one here. Going back to the video here, when the DeLorean drops, who knows? But it's around this same time frame. And I saw the comments about the Hydra Stomper and so forth. That's the first quarter. We haven't even. That's assuming that if you survive the Hydra Stomper and a few other pieces that are supposed to drop, if you can survive the first quarter, this is considered the second quarter. You're this close to getting the DeLorean. Not to mention the first quarter of 2023. I didn't add it to this one. It's when Western Doc Brown drops, and Western Clint Eastwood Marty McFly. I didn't add them to the screen because that's the first quarter. These are the second quarter drops for Hot Toys. Check it out here. The big square, brush prototype, similar ones. I think I've gone through everything. What do you think, James? If I missed anything, I think I've gone through.
No, I think we basically covered it all.
Have I covered everything? I've explained to the audience. This is a prototype. Calm down. I explained shipping charges will vary greatly to survive the blast. Sideshow 927, going through Ultra Ego. It's just do your homework on it. But I think I've got everything. Let me look at the comments. I think I've covered just about everything about this one. Did I hear Boba Fett's? Yes, Boba Fett's. Yes, because he fell down into the Sarlacc pit as Jeremy Bullock, and he came out like Ned from Spider-Man wearing the Boba Fett armor. So yes, you heard it right. Final time has come. Thanks for the. If I've missed anything, let me know, because I think I've gotten just about everything. Is that Vegas slang? What is Vegas slang? Buy the DeLorean. Yes. Don't miss this opportunity, folks. Don't miss this opportunity. Show your support. Get the DeLorean. I'm going to pre-order it tomorrow. I just need to figure out who's going to get me the best deal. Someone asked earlier how many DeLoreans I'm going to get. I'm going to pre-order one. I will eventually get a second one on the secondary market, who's offering discounts and so forth. It'll help me determine. I don't think I can RC convert this version, just because if it's going to have the mechanical arm that retracts the wheel, if the underneath the carriage is illuminated with a lot of electrical wires and stuff like that, I don't feel confident that the right components, the right wheels, because it's the way it was described to me by the RC shop. A DC motor needs to be dropped, the battery pack in the front. There's certain things that have to be in the vehicle to give it enough force, enough power, the battery pack and so forth, to get it to move. I still want to retrofit a 1/6 scale DeLorean. How awesome would it be to get a 1/6 scale? Now, I will, when I get the DeLorean, you absolutely can bet I'm gonna research. Can I convert this? Has it been gutted out? The Mark I had the arms, the steel rods. So, and that's the other thing too, where the Mark I had the steel rods that I used to attach the hover conversion. This one here doesn't look like it would have the steel rods that go across it versus the Mark I did. So that's something that when I get it, I unbox it, that's going to go through my gears. Thank you so much, Hugo Boss. I forgot to tell you, thank you for the super chat. Back to Future drops.
Denobi?
Yes.
Sorry, mate. I'm probably going to have to jet.
That's okay.
But the only other thing I was going to say is, would you consider, you can maybe speak to the audience about this, but would you consider, since this is a hover DeLorean, would you ever consider trying to magnetically make it hover?
It would be too heavy. I can tell you, just based on my experience, it would be way too heavy. It would be something that I would love to explore, though, but I would assume it'd be very too heavy. But I'm going to hang out just for a few more minutes.
But thank you for having me on, and thanks everyone for tuning in. We kept a great number, and everyone like and subscribe. And hopefully we can get on and talk about more Back to the Future soon.
Yes, thank you so much, James. I'm gonna hang out for a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna jet. Couple more questions. Thank you so much. Single songwriter, Dylan, with today's technology, could someone easily 3D print the body of your Mark I DeLorean and use that to make an RC version? 3D printing technology, it's almost there. I wouldn't feel confident. Plus, it's expensive too. That's the thing too. What type of resins are you going to use? The manufacturing techniques. I would, when I did the research with the Mark I, and I reached out to a couple RC shops one of them in Arizona actually, and the closer to Vegas would be better, so that I can film, I can drive to the location, so forth. Um, he explained it to me that a lot of the internal components would be gutted out, and he would try to salvage a lot of the lighting. Like I told him, like, look, if you're going to start gutting out the DeLorean, it needs the headlights. I go, okay, well, we can do this and we can do that, and we can, photos were taken, like, all right, so the battery components in the hood, you can add a battery pack to that. The DC motor in the back, we can see how much cavity, the big space, and so forth. So it wasn't going to be a cheap conversion either to turn into an RC. The labor and so forth, I remember, it was anywhere between $400 to $600. That was very cheap conservatively to get a 1/6 scale DeLorean RC. So that's me taking the photos and so forth. That was a few years ago. That was probably 2018. Things have changed. The world, we're living in a different world right now. I don't know what type of we're living in a different world right now. I don't know. I'm assuming with inflation and so forth, an RC converted DeLorean would be a lot more, which I would expect. I would still explore the possibility of the Mark II being retro converted into an RC. I just don't expect it. I can look at it, and it looks very different. It looks like a lot of the structural integrity that I've come to know from the Mark I, because I've had two. I've looked inside. I know the weight and so forth. To make the vehicle hover, I'm assuming they're going to reduce the weight to the vehicle. There's going to be a lot of gears and pulleys inside the vehicle, a lot of wiring. I would not want to damage the light effect underneath the vehicle. That, like, I don't mind gutting the vehicle, but if it means destroying a lot of the electrical components like that, I wouldn't feel comfortable in doing that. That's why I was very excited to get the Mark. Like, my God, if they released the Mark III, that would be the perfect RC vehicle, because if it's just the Mark I with the added tchotchke, Mr. Fusion and the circuit box with the white wall wheels, oh my God, that's a dream come true, right? I'll drive it out to the RC shop in Arizona. I'll get it RC converted, and I'll go out to one of the sand dunes out here. There's plenty of dry lake beds and a lot of desert out here. And, I'll even drive to Monument Valley. It's not even a few hours, right? I'll drive to Monument Valley, and I would go out there and I would RC drive the damn thing. So that to me would be my dream RC vehicle, is to get that converted. This one here, this is the year 2015. This is the future. This is something that I would want to be pristine, but to dirty up the Mark III version 1 with the white wall wheels, hell. And here's the thing: it wouldn't even be that hard to include the railroad wheels. The wheels are kept on with just one bolt, so it's not like it would be the first Hot Toys vehicle that would require tooling, like a screwdriver to remove. The Hulkbuster, Hot Toys Hulkbuster, when you're swapping out that arm, it does require a little bit of mechanical finesse or experience to remove that arm and attach the new Hulkbuster arm. So, yes. And that's the thing, too, with the Mark III, that I would go out to the desert, and I would beg my buddy Thomas to print me some tracks, 1/6 scale tracks for the railroad, and all I would need is a big locomotive to push it, and push it over to over Clayton Ravine, right? But it's not called Clayton Ravine. In my play would be shoot, I'm having a brain fart here. Eastwood Ravine. Eastwood. I know this stuff. Come on now. I know this. So the circuit lighting this time, or the circuit lighting this time or not. I'm going to take a leap of faith, and I'm going to assume that the lighting of the circuits will be included. When James was on earlier, I talked about that LED lighting has come down in price significantly from over 10 years ago. Strips of LED. I remember when I had my DTOFs, I remember I spent over $80 just to do like one DTOF. This is back in 2013. Now you can go on Amazon and you can buy a wheel of LED lights for 15, 20 bucks, and you can do like a whole module case. So I'm going to assume because the electronics have gotten cheaper, they can do this. Yeah, that's what I would want if I did RC version. Yeah. It would be an expensive endeavor to do it, but I would document it, and hopefully, with the views on it, it will at least help offset some of the cost. But if anything, it would be more of a fan project for me. But I think if the audience followed with that conversion, I think they would get a kick out of it. Every time I would do a Delorean video, they typically do good on the channel. You would need a couple of yeah, it would be too heavy. I wouldn't even fathom the possibilities of making it hover. I mean, it would be a giant magnet, and it just sounds dangerous. So, issue the 89 announcement. With Keaton back in vogue, I would imagine that I wouldn't rule out the possibility. This right here again opens the doors. Look, folks. The last couple of years, Hot Toys has been acting kind of weird. They've been listening to us. They've been doing things for us out of their kindness of their heart, which I'm not used to. They've done things like release Cyborg, right? They're doing certain reissues where fans were not able to get their hands on. They really truly are going above and beyond with some of this stuff, and it's again I was in shock. I had trouble sleeping last night when this thing dropped. Just something that I was not expecting. It's going to be a beautiful piece. I can tell you right now that type of the display base will take up a lot of space. Could you put this on top of a DTOF? Yes, but I would not recommend it unless your DTOF is secure. Not to mention the power source. One of the things that always annoyed me when I had DTOFs was the wiring and the cable. I could never crack the damn DaVinci Code as to hide the cables. It always felt like a lot of labor for me, and I could never get it right. And it was always expensive, and I never had enough lights. And the top of the DTOFs didn't have a lot of real estate. And something like this, I would want to display it in flight mode. I don't know if I would use that base. I would probably create my own custom base where it would create the illusion it's hovering inside my module case. Kind of something like this, kind of something like I have now. You see where the DeLorean looks like it's hovering with Marty? Can you see it down there? I don't move the camera, but I would do something like that. Yeah. So I wouldn't need that base, that acrylic base. That's fine that it includes it. If you live in a stable environment, and you feel trustworthy to put it on top of a DTOF, I say go for it. Something I learned from a second person. I'm going to reference my bud Will Foxification. You folks know who Will Foxification is. I heard him on one of his streams. He says he walks in his room and shit falls over, and I'm like, and I thought that was odd. And then I remember somebody else mentioned that when they walk on their hardwood floors, it wasn't leveled in their home, so things would shake. And I found that just like, wow, that's different. So apparently, depending on where you live in the country, in the US, and the home you have, where you live, I didn't know that was a real threat, that if you certain homes, if you have hardwood floors or whatever, and you walk, things shake. I learn something every day. He may watch this, but I'm going to reference you, Will Fox, because I remember listening to you mention that, and I'm like, yeah, I remember reading somewhere else when someone walks in their room, shit just tips over. Now, I have walked up to this floor And I've walked around the room, and there's been twice in the years I lived here where there's been 4 or 5 figures flipped over, just tipped over, and it's because there was a minor tremor. It was an earthquake. So, yeah, I get earthquakes out here. That's not welcomed here, like a bantha. March Madness. Fad Gadget. Just logged on. Have you spoken about the Mark III and the possibility of a conversion complete kit with the white wall tires? No. All we spoke on the stream was the Mark II and that it's a prototype and everybody needs to just calm down. That was the 2016 prototype. I don't want to go too heavy into the Mark III. I wish it. I want it. The problem is when the speculation makes the audience feel like they're gonna expect something, where speculation turns into expectation. So this is a blessing in disguise, and I'm gonna take it with it. I'm gonna roll with it. I think I'm getting tired. I need to go to bed. I think I've covered just about everything. We traveled back to 2016. I did my chart, right? I showed you guys next year is going to be scary, and I should probably go to bed. Boy, let me look at the comments. Off topic, but love the little camera inside your Razor Crest falling around. That is, yes. I love that Razor Crest. Yes, yes. If you want that, I would get the whole bottom of the car custom fit to the top. Rusty Boy, if you want the RC convert and make it to fit the top half of the car, then it's a matter of how space you have left to fit the parts. Yeah, that's a possibility. Again, I mean, you can with a custom RC car. It just depends on how much you're willing to dump into it, right? I was looking for the most economical way possible at the time. Very nice. Thank you. I appreciate you folks enjoying that Razor Crest video. I do appreciate it. Kindness of the heart to know me. Very nice. Any interest in making a bat plane? No, I did my rant already for Jazz Inc. It's early in the video. I don't even want to give him any more. I'm over that. Every time I move that damn thing, something else breaks on that damn car. So it's buried. It's actually buried behind the Enterprise on cinder blocks up there. Shelving and bookcase should be fastened to the wall like any appliance. You got that right. Sounds like they need to re-stump down when it moves. Yeah. I'm gonna be on 1-6 Mafia tomorrow. I'll be joining the panel. I'll be talking more Back to the Future. I think Will Foxification is going to be on it. So if you haven't already, or if you're not already following 1-6 Mafia, I'll be on his panel tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We're probably going to be talking about more DeLorean goodness, and I'm going to do my darnest to squash any negative rumors or speculations when it comes to this DeLorean, because it's getting old, right? The one that's really starting to get old is about the wheels, right? About the wheels right here. This right here, that's a no-no. I will jump off the Hoover Dam if they even try to release that. I don't think they will. I'm telling you folks, this is a 2016 prototype that was dug out of storage, probably right next to the Sith, the 1/6 scale Jedi Starfighter. They probably have all this in storage. This is probably right next to the Rhino from Amazing Spider-Man. Right to the right, they had the Jedi Starfighter, and they dug this thing up because they got spooked because Jazz Inc. wanted to create his version of a Frankenstein DeLorean, and Hot Toys said, "Nope, we got this. We got this. We'll take care of this. We worked on the design a few years ago. We'll go back. We'll get our top scientist on board to fix the DeLorean. We'll get this right. We are aware of the problems. We were aware of the problems in 2016. We got this. So it's going to be beautiful. I can't wait to get this damn thing. It's this guy's figures recreate. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. You guys keep keeping me here because I can keep talking about this, but I got to go to bed. Lookaloo, man. I got to go to bed. Will you pay me? Yes. That's the picking up the birds of prey. You got that? Yes, I will. Boy, that's a good rest, brother. All right. I got to go to bed, right? Get the best. I got Bat Pod. I'm telling you, man, this thing was trash right here. Well, hold on. Where is it? This right here? I hated this thing. I did. I did not like this at all. That's the Bat Pod. Not the Bat Pod. Christopher Nolan's The Bat. I did not like this thing at all. Took up a lot of space. And then it had like plastic stringy wire that broke. I didn't like it. And then it was 1/12 scale too. It wasn't even 1/6 scale. This is 1/12. So you can fit like Mattel action figures in it. It came with action figures. Yeah, I didn't like it. I did not like that at all. I had it for 2 years and I ditched it. I did. These photos are the ones I had, and I didn't like it. I got rid of it. I think I took out. No, I don't think I took. Yeah, I think I broke even on it. I didn't make. I sold it. I chucked it. I just did. All right, I'm going to bed. This was fun. Catch me tomorrow on 6 Mafia. I can't even think. I got to go to bed. Thank you so much. Hopefully I did my part. Support the DeLorean so that we can get the Mark III so that I can RC convert it. Yeah. Let me get rid of this. Check this out.
First time?